One thing a lot of people were hitting me up about last week was, asking me to speak on the money that allegedly was put on Epi Duck's head by, the BDs, and a lot of videos were coming out about that. That's something most of you guys have already heard about probably, and it was in the mainstream media. But in this video, I wanted to address kind of like some misconceptions about one particular guy in the case, because there's been a little bit of misinformation about this one particular guy, and the case, really I would say not necessarily the bigger case, but I would say equivalent case that he's also facing. So I'll just get right into this here. The headline on a lot of these media reports said, 5 O Block members arrested for, the murder of Epi Duck. That's a little bit inaccurate, because one of the guys who was arrested, this guy Kenny Mack. By the way, guys, don't confuse this Kenny Mack with the Kenny Mack from Dog Pound. So it's a coincidence that these guys are actually from neighborhoods that get along. Dog Pound is BD's, and then Lamron, O Block, 600, like all these BD neighborhoods really get along, and they all really have more unity, I would say, than the GD side. I mean, GDs, you see them beefing all over the city with each other, like GD neighborhoods beefing with other GD neighborhoods. When it comes to the BDs on the south side, most of those neighborhoods really are clicked up. They're actually like one of the most united gangs as far as like the different sets. But there's a Kenny Mack from Dog Pound, and then this particular Kenny Mack is not from Dog Pound, and he's not from O Block either. He's actually from a set called Dipset. Now, this is one thing I need to clear up. There's about I think 6 or 7 neighborhoods in Chicago called Dipset. Okay, he's from the one over on 71st that's right by Brick Squad. It's like, I think it's off of Parnell. I'm not sure the exact cross street, but I think it's off of Parnell. And that set is actually, I believe, BD's. Okay, it's right in there. There's like a patchwork of BD and GD neighborhoods in that area. And I've seen some reports saying that they were GDs. Now, there are other Dipsets that are GDs. In fact, 3 of the other neighborhoods that are Dipsets are GDs, and so that may have been what the confusion was due to. But it made it seem like he was a GD rocking with BDs, and like he was, being a traitor to his nation or something. That's not the case. Now, as far as the nations, the guys, don't really take that as seriously anymore as they take just like the neighborhoods or whatever. But it wasn't like a GD neighborhood riding with the BDs on other GDs. I mean, it made it sound like, when they said in the news reports that he was from a GD neighborhood, rolling with O Block on somebody who was from another GD neighborhood, it made it sound like he was like there was war within the nation, like he was betraying his own nation. No, the Dipset that he's from is BD's. But there's one Dipset that's actually Stones. They're over on 63rd and like Blackstone. Over on Blackstone, it's named for that street. But there's another Dipset that is GD's off of like 103rd. Okay, and that's like way on the south side, like way about 40 blocks south of where O Block is at. Direct south, because it's also off of King Drive. Then there's another Dipset which is GD's, which is north of O Block. They're over on on Prairie, I believe, around 47th or 48th. Then there's another Dipset that's also GD's over on, it's like directly west of O Block. Okay, and this is off of like 65th, but it's all the way over at Damon. Okay, O Block is at like King Drive, so I mean we're talking maybe like 20 blocks to the west. And then there's another Dipset that's also GD's over on 57th, and that one is, I believe, around State. So those are the other Dipsets that I know of, but the Dipset that he's from is off of 71st. It's like 071 Dipset. They call themselves Ty Gang, probably for a deceased member. I don't know of anybody named Ty that got killed from over there, but that's usually what it is. So, Dog Pound is over there, Lamron is over there. I mean, this is all like the same general area, and all of them, ride with O Block. So it's not like he was flipping or, riding on other GDs or anything like that. The stuff that was in those news reports was, kind of sending people off about that. So anyways, Kenny Mack had actually been arrested before that. He was like the first person arrested because he'd actually been charged in a totally different case. And this other case that he was charged in was also murder. But the interesting thing about this was that he was free for several other cases at that time. And, this is one thing that law enforcement in Chicago has complained about a lot, that a lot of these guys really shouldn't have been free, for these things to happen. But at the time of his arrest in the Duck case, he was the 44th person charged with killing, shooting, or trying to kill someone in Chicago of that previous year while on felony bond. They said in addition, he was charged earlier that year, I'm talking about the same year that he was arrested for Duck's murder, with shooting 2 women and killing a man in the suburb of Dalton to the south of Chicago. And Dalton is another one of those suburbs like Harvey where it's really like just an extension of Chicago. But he allegedly did that also while on bail for the pending gun case. So as you guys know, they charged, Kenny Mack with that back, when they charged the rest of the old block members with that. But they said that he was on bail at the time of the murder of Duck, awaiting trial in a 2019 case that involved 9 weapons-related felony charges, including multiple counts of being a felon in possession of a firearm while on parole. That parole, which he was also on at the time of Duck's murder, was for armed robbery. He was out for armed robbery, on parole. After that, all this stuff happened, and he was on bail at the time of that murder. And he had been in jail, they said, at that particular point. This was being reported by CWB Chicago, since February 21st. The day that Cook County prosecutors charged him with murdering a man and shooting 2 women in Dalton, prosecutors said during a bond hearing that he and another gunman opened fire on a 31-year-old named Lorenzo and a van that the 2 women were sitting in after a confrontation at a, quote, makeshift club. Now check this out. Lorenzo's body had 27 bullet holes in it, according to the assistant state's attorney. And the judge at that point held Kenny without bail. The one thing I would say about this whole incident, man, is take everything you're hearing about this with a grain of salt, because a lot of this is coming from, rumors and information that the police are picking up that reach their ears. I've had police tell me this. Police detectives tell me that, a lot of the information that they get picked up is not accurate. Even stuff that's like direct. They get information that some guy's got some at his house. They go over there and search it and it's not there. They just get sent off all the time by different street rumors, just like the same way, me and some of the other bloggers used to get sent off. The police get sent off too. So I wouldn't necessarily, to be honest with you, I'm not saying that, they're wrong, but the fact that they would put $100,000 on Duck's head, anybody, like $100,000 is a lot of money, you know what I'm saying? For anybody in the street, like even for a rapper or anybody that has money, like $100,000 is a nice piece of change. I mean, to put up that much money on somebody's head, like the going rate in Chicago is like $5,000, for like a high value person. I'm talking like a person that everybody wants. Somebody who's killed people, taken, people's loved ones away from them, caused a lot of dead homies to these sets. $5,000. So, and then they want $100,000 for a guy who just raps and like has never really, killed anybody that anybody knows of. Like I talked to, numerous people from that area and nobody ever heard of Duck killing anybody. So for them to put $100,000 on his head, that type of money wasn't even on like the guys who've committed like 4 murders. You know what I'm saying? I've never heard that much money ever being on anybody's head in Chicago. I'm just being honest. So I don't know, man. You guys can take it for what you want, but I'm hesitant to believe any of that, that I hear, even from, the rumors the police have picked up around the internet or in the media or anything. This is your boy Winnie C. Report. I'm out.